Greetings, fellow travelers, and welcome to The Way of the Showman, where we view the world through the lens of showmanship. I am Captain Frodo, and I will be your host and your guide along the way. And as this episode is coming out, I am in Las Vegas. I am in Las Vegas performing at Mad Apple Cirque du Soleil show at the New York Casino. And one of the wonderful things about being in Las Vegas are the people that are there. Of course, it is absolutely astounding. I never thought in a million years that I would be in Cirque du Soleil, but as it turns out, Mad Apple is just a wonderful fit for me. But it's also all these other friends that I have, Paul the Beck and Mac King, which I've gotten friends with, and Nick Diffatte, which is the subject of the episode today. Because when I'm recording this episode here, I am actually in Norway, but it will come out in a couple of weeks. So I have just finished doing this festival in Norway where I have been doing a show together with my family. And in that show, I did 2 half-hour shows. Some of the acts were done by my daughter, some by my wife. But all of the material that we presented in that show that I did was brand new. And this is actually recorded these conversations with Nick Diffatte last time I was there, which is in July. And I was trying to get my head around why I was feeling the way that I was about my so-called new, in air quote, my new material. Because I was doing basically a sort of card catch effect where I used, where I catch a card with my foot, and which is a marketed effect. And then I used it together with this toaster that my father has made, that is a card fountain. Anyway, I'm taking little bits and pieces and putting it together, and I haven't created it from scratch in the way that I did with the can stack balance or with my tennis rackets or so. And in my questioning of all of this, I decided to talk to Nick Diffatte and get him to enlighten me a little bit about this. And as it always is, when you are talking to friends, it becomes a meandering conversation about many different topics, but this was the heart of it. So, if you like this kind of conversation to continue, please click subscribe. That would be awesome. And if you got some goodness in your heart, click 5 stars on iTunes and maybe even leave a little review. Say, this is the way, or whatever you want to say. So, let's jump into me questioning Nick Diffatte. Sitting in the wonderful castle or man cave of Nick Diffatte.
Messy living quarters, yeah.
Yeah. You have some great stuff, man. Great art, and you got this sweet sawing in half illusion. Is that like, is it just sawing the arm off?
Yeah, vivisection of an arm. If any listeners want it, it's up for grabs. I'd love a desk so we could free up some space. But yeah, that was Paul Kozak did that in comedy clubs. He had a show that was kind of more in that vein, and I think he'd like cut the middle of their arm off and then give them a tattoo or whatever and put it back in. So pretty funny. Clever. Or he would blow a bubble with the middle of it. So like pull out the middle chunk of their arm and then dip it in stuff and blow a big red bubble up.
That's funny.
Kind of clever. But
it's an amazing looking thing. It's very serious saw blade and everything. It's a big prop to be touring around with.
Yeah, it breaks down. Still 90 pounds or whatever, but it breaks down. Fits in a case. Fits in a fiber case. Wow. So it's like pretty cumbersome to get around. I don't know why I own it, but I do.
Well, it's like if
living room piece.
Yeah, it's a living room piece.
Clearly a conversation piece.
Yeah. So what I was thinking of talking to you about, I should probably see if this.
Do you want me to turn the aircon off?
Maybe we'll turn the aircon off.
I'll turn it up pretty high.
I don't know, or else we have to.
I don't know.
Stop it and.
Let's just do it to an astronomical level where it'll never get to.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be 80 degrees in here, but
soon.
We're all good.
But yeah, we've talked about many things, and I would like to again talk about teaching magic, learning magic, and this practice of using other people's material and all that. So that
For sure.
and maybe we'd start off by going about, you have just recently been at Magic Camp.
Just barely recovered from Magic Camp. 7 days of Tannen's Magic Camp. We did it was the 52nd year, which is crazy. I've only been around for 4 of them because I'm young, but they're, it's incredible. It's like all real acts taking a week off and coming in and doing this thing. People, some of the kids come with material. Some of them are like complete beginners. Some of them are working already. And it's, it's intense.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And the age range of the kids is
10. I mean, 10 is like, we had to have a discussion this year where it was like 9 and 10 is like too young.
Yeah.
But they'll give little exceptions here and there for serious kids. But I think it's usually like, I'd say average is 14 to 18.
Yeah. And there might be one that's 20 and one or 2 that's 10 or whatever, or a few, but that the bell curve is in the middle, but
maybe a little
10
older,
and 20.
maybe 15 or 16 is the highest. But yeah, this year we had a lot of there's a bunch of kids that I seen really grow in 4 years, and now this was their last year. Really great because they turned 19 or 20, and it's crazy. Crazy.
So and who was it that was there this year as teachers for them? Or like a few.
Matt King, Suzanne from Minneapolis, Derek Hughes, Alex Boyce from New York, Rachel Wax, Mark Calabrese, Matt Schick. He runs like all the technical aspects. Hal Schulman, Ian Flynn, great dude from New York, who's he's such a fucking gem to have on staff because he's like a lifelong camp attendee, right? Like he came as a kid, very serious in the, magic person, and then became a professional counselor. And so now when he comes back and is a counselor there, it's like, if we have a kid who's having a hard time or there's some there's kids have real stuff going on at home. Yeah. So to have a guy there, because I've always joked about it's not a great vibe to just have some kid that's going through a crisis, and then it's me and Zabrecki and Derek Hughes being like, "You're fine. I can.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Do you want a bottle of water?
Go, kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Check out this Elmsley count. Do you want a bottle of water? I'm not built for that. So he's such a gem to have there. But yeah, I think it's just a really special place. People, for the most part, people leave their ego at the door and just want to teach and learn and do cool stuff. And so cool. The shows are unbelievable too. I've always said ever since the first year I went that some of those shows rival Magic Convention shows, by a mile. We get Mark Kalin and Ginger come in and do illusions, or the Evasons come in and do their real, mentalism show that they do for corporate stuff. And it's Derek Hughes and I are doing 40 minutes sometimes. It's crazy. Yeah. Matt King came in this year and did his hour. It's the coolest thing.
That's insane.
For 10-year-olds.
Yeah, and what's special as well, it's the camp environment. Is it just in a hotel or is there an outdoor component?
There's no camp. There's no people go, okay, but then at 11 you guys go kayaking or what? It's nope. This one is special because it's only magic.
Yeah.
We go outside, but there's no
There's no lectures or street magic outside.
No, we're not playing. No. We don't play kickball or whatever. No, none of the kids are bringing a football just in case.
No, because there's a reason why these kids are at the magic camp. It's because they don't go to
football camp.
Some of them go to real camps after it too.
Yeah,
They just this is one of the camps that they do in the summer. But it's certainly. But so it's held at a place called Bryn Bawr College in Pennsylvania. That's beautiful. It looks like Hogwarts, right?
Oh,
it's
great.
like castle vibe. Very.
I guess
stone.
that's what I was actually hinting at, as opposed to saying, is there an outdoor component? Maybe what I should have said is like exactly that, architecture, and that you're in a place that. So when you're inside, it's not just like a glass and shiny surfaces hotel where you're sitting in a conference room, but
you're immersed.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, it's. I don't know if they were seeking out a place that looked like that, but 20 years ago, they certainly nailed it. Like if you were looking for, it's an important element to that camp, I think, is being in that kind of like, we go, one of the nights is formal night. So everybody's all dressed up and then we go over and there's a party. And it's in this like grand hall with big paintings of people that even people who work at the college have never heard of. It just looks like a Harry Potter thing. And so and then the kids do the strolling magic competition in that environment.
Oh, cool.
So it's like just badass.
Who else are in? So when they're doing strolling competition, is it just the other attendees that are sitting at the table watching
counselors?
And counselors.
So Mark Calabrese coordinated it this year, and it was really great because instead of just like having judges that are the judges, it was all secret. So it was just a number of counselors that he chose to be like undercover judges. So the goal was just, hey, hit everybody in the room. You got an hour and some change, and do your 3-trick set, and this, that. You got this much time, whatever. Do what you would do for real people. Go do it in this room.
Yeah.
Pretend this is a real party or whatever. And that's always a cool part of the week. There's a stage contest, which I think is always a highlight too, because it's on the second day of camp, and so all these kids come in with their grand ideas, and some of them totally bite it, and some of them really succeed, and then throughout the week they get critiques from us on those competition acts.
Okay.
If they choose to do so.
Yeah, because it takes a while, because you said 100 and 120 or something.
But only maybe 30 are going to be competing.
Yeah, okay.
So, and they sign up beforehand and whatever. But it is.
But it still takes a while. You're going to talk to 30 and they're kids, and you want to somehow not just go, you got an A+. You want to talk to them and
yeah. I think it's tough because if you're like, when I was there my first year, I've taught magic I had taught magic a little bit one-on-one. Like if somebody in town said, hey, I want help with the transfer or with whatever, or with this stage trick, I've sat with people and taught magic, but I'd never like been around 120 kids who are all like in the sponge phase of trying to learn magic. So it was very new to me to be like giving critiques to kids who actually want to be talked to like an adult.
Yeah.
But you've got a 12-year-old in front of you where you're like, I need to like, scrambling. I can be abrasive with the people that I like. And so I think trying to find a way to give notes in that environment was tough for me, or an interesting new kind of challenge.
And it's different too. If you're giving me notes, it never, whatever you say, it's not going to impact on whether I'm going to maybe do this trick or not, or whether I'm going to stop performing or so. But you slam a 15-year-old, and it might just hit them in some kind of,
big time.
So it's a bigger kind of responsibility, or so you can't go, here, have a glass of water, and you got to learn to take a joke and wipe those tears away.
We need to go get Ian if you're going to be like this. I mean, I've had tears in the critique rooms for sure, because there's a little bit of like, and I think it's one of the coolest parts of camp is that they come in, they're in an isolated community. They live in whatever, I'm just going to name a place, Kansas, right? And so they don't know any other magicians. it's something that you hear every year. I've never met other magicians, especially not magicians my age.
Yeah.
And so they kind of come in thinking they're hot shit sometimes, which is awesome because they can come in, do what they think is phenomenal, and then see 10 other kids that are like,
oh,
you know.
yeah.
But that's just the world, and
yeah, and
so
it's also
cool to see it in that
how
environment.
you go forward. It's like remembering that from juggling or whatever. When I was just me juggling at home in my town, then you have one speed of development. It took me so long. I was just talking with Adam quickly yesterday about this, saying, "Oh yeah," because I mentioned Professor Confidence or Dave Finnegan in the
fantastic,
because I read that book and I'm going, yeah, and it came with a little plastic Ziploc thing in the back with 3 scarves, and I learned as a 12-year-old when I started juggle, or was it a little older, 13, whatever, but reading the book and trying to work out what these things are supposed to do. And it's a really tricky thing, and it takes a long time. And but then when I then moved into another place, Oslo, and met all these other people, like I had high skills to a certain degree, but then when I met these people, then quickly it escalated because you just practice in a different way and you go, oh, this is possible or whatever. And I think community lifts the bar always of it. So these guys who arrive, and guys, I'm saying, what was the ratio?
It's a quarter
of
girls
boys to girls
now.
Sorry,
25%. It's a quarter girls now, which is amazing.
Well, that's amazing.
I think this year was a record for sure, which was very cool, and which was a great, I almost said excuse. It was a great reason for me to be able to reach out to someone like Suzanne, who I've always, looked up to as a kid and been like, we have a quarter girls. Let's get, the female magician with unbelievable chops who is working 4 or 5 nights a week doing this for real. And she's fully willing to jump on an airplane and come in and do it with 2 weeks notice. It's like
pretty awesome.
It's unbelievable. And they were their minds were blown out their asses. Suzanne came in and absolutely rocked it. It was crazy. Even we had the older, let's say 18 to 20. I'm sure there were some younger ones in there, but the advanced sleight of hand classes.
And I don't think that personality-wise or anything, you don't get any more adult and advanced and cool than when you are between 16 and 18.
When you're the 20-year-old guy at a magic camp
and you basically know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then slowly you know less.
They got slammed so hard by her. It was awesome.
Right.
They came up to me at lunch and were like, how have we never seen her work before? How have we not they think they knew cups. That was the comment that I kept getting over and over again. It was like, I thought I knew cups and balls, but it's like, of course she did, but but to have it happen in person like that and all happen within a week is such a, these critiques are going on and they're seeing acts that they've never been able to see in person. That's a huge thing, I think.
This in-person thing, that was, I dropped that ball. I was saying, so Mac comes in and you see 1 hour. So if they were in Vegas or at the Magic Convention, there's a chance they could see Mac. But then the kids would not have that kind of access to him. So
they don't go back to the same dorm with him.
Yeah.
So
he's staying
outrageous.
there and he's hanging out. And because he was saying you and him did a workshop or a session
it was great
for hours on, and you just did one sort of coin vanish or one.
Oh yeah, that was our
pass.
So just to give you a tiny bit of context, you do a morning class. It depends. So, okay, most of the counselors have a homeroom. So Adam Rubin and I, that's a person I forgot to list in that first list, but it should have been one of the first people I named. But he's, an incredible children's author, great magician, really funny guy, and it just total badass. But he and I usually teach together. And so we have those same, let's say 13 kids or 14 kids for the whole week, every day in the morning. So you have that 2.5 hour chunk before lunch or whatever. And that's the kids regularity throughout the week. And so we can pick something and work on it for 7 days, which is badass too. So this year was mostly, like you were saying, false transfer stuff or whatever. They wanted to learn a couple card tricks, so we tossed that in too. And then you get guests in that class, like Mac or Suzanne or Danny Garcia or whatever. That's another name I forgot. Danny Garcia, also one of the
just incredible. Like it's
bonkers.
Yeah.
It's like literally better lineups than most IBM conventions in the last 20 years. But like so you have a morning homeroom thing. So Mac came in for a couple days and taught with our class. And yeah, this year, I mean, I had probably my favorite homeroom class I've had in there because they were so down to do stuff. And one of the things that always made me uncomfortable taking group classes and doing, like, I would have fucking shriveled up at a thing like a Magic Camp, I think, as a kid. I don't think it's conducive to the way that I function. You know, if it's like, I used to do, Tyler Erickson in Minnesota would teach these group classes. And I benefited a lot by just being in a room with 4 or 5 people and having to do the thing, right? So it's like everybody has to go around and do the move or do the whatever we're working on or do the trick for the person next to you. Everybody pair off and do the thing a couple times. Doing that was so beneficial in a weird way to just like break that social barrier of learning or of being willing to be really shitty at something. And so like now every time I get that class on the first day, I go like, hey, I know this is weird. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. First, everybody go around, say your name, say where you're from, whatever. We'll get that out of the way. Easy stuff, right? Try to remember everybody's name. Awesome. Now, do anything. Just everybody's going to go around. You can stand up. You can stay seated. I don't really care. Just do a move, do a trick. If you can't do a trick, just talk about a trick you like. But you have to do something. Everybody at the table, like we're all sitting in a circle at a big, you know, conference kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like getting that out of the way is so helpful to me. And and you can see it in them.
Yeah.
And like this year they were all down for it, which is so cool.
Yeah.
So like the first day, you know, and you get kids that are just like, I like it when Harry Anderson was on this show and he did this thing. It's like, great. Okay. So you did something. And now when you're learning a move, you're down to like turn to the person next to you or pair off in a different way or whatever, or stand up and is anybody down to stand up and try the thing we just worked on for an hour?
Yeah.
It's hugely beneficial.
Yeah. I mean,
and rare, I think.
Yeah. It's so hard, but it's also like, and that kind of feeling as well. And knowing when you are talking magic with someone, when you can show where you're actually at. You don't have to impress. Like that is the way you're going. We are in this to upskill. Yeah. All of us, whatever level that we're on.
Including me. Like that's the cool part is that I think, you know, Mac and I taught this thing on the first day and then 2 days later. So we'll just, to give you the exact example, it was the Al Schneider false transfer, which like I was taught as a kid. You know my deep interest in his work, and so I've read all his books, and I continue to study them and whatever, and his approach. And Mac does the transfer, and then 2 days later, Suzanne came in and like was able to tweak what we had shown them and correct things that we were doing wrong.
Yeah, so they've been working on this particular coin move, and all of the naturalness and knowing exactly how the real motion is supposed to look, and then learning all of the moves that you have to do, all the skills that you need to do to, and then practice the actual move as opposed to the actual transfer. And so you've done that for hours, and then a few days goes.
Just drills leading up to that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like, and then Suzanne comes in and goes, okay, so now you guys have worked on placing one coin into the other hand for 5 hours. Right. So now let me clean it up and help you guys to get where it needs to go.
It's amazing.
But that's also like, this is the ongoing thing of everybody, isn't it? You keep thinking that you're there. And me and Jay, when we were making Reflex, we'd been listening to In and of Itself, Derek now standing completely still, Del Delgadio, and and he had just been talking about, and then I had done the show 150 times, and then I had this epiphany going like, this is what the show is. But then I did it 300 times, and now I was like, how could I do it up until now? Because now I know what the show is. And
I think about that.
I think that goes all the time. Like I'm doing the rackets at Mad Apple here now.
Yeah.
And there's all these little extra jokes and little things that I'm doing where I'm going like, why has this not been in the act?
Yeah.
I've been doing this act
How
since
did I not
1998.
feel this space?
Yeah.
Like that, I get that constantly with the spoons thing or with the structure of the show or like whatever. I add some new, like a full new trick in, and I kind of go like, what the fuck was the show before that?
Yeah.
Like it did, now I have texture. It's like you added texture 20 years in.
Yeah, which is so concerning. Awesome. I love that it is like that, and it's great on that level that the kids are getting that already. That they're getting.
That's
okay,
cool.
So remember, because in the beginning, like you got you're practicing just the actual how it actually is when you actually put the coin across, and then it's unbelievable how long I was working on that move, but with balls this morning, and how. Then I was listening to some music, and I was trying to do just a move in the beat with the music, and how like when you actually do it 50 times in a row, how it changes your thing, and then do it 50 times in a row just with the. And doing it kind of fast and doing like it is incredible. And then even by that point, when I'm then going to do it for you now, it's so cumbersome and because as soon as I'm showing it to you, I deteriorate in
it's
something
different,
fiercely.
Right? It's like it's the juggling at home and getting to the level where you can nail a trick versus nailing a trick on stage is like two completely different skill sets. Yeah.
No, that's right. So that's great. Getting them straight up, having all the kids sitting there for the 2.5 hours, and the first session, you get all of them. They have to do something. They have to break that ice, and then do you keep track then of who hasn't shown something? And
we just go in a circle.
Yeah, but I mean, in that first session, but then. Now well, there's these 3 kids who had nothing to show.
Sure.
And these are the kids who are like, these are all right. Like there'll be a chunk of them who goes,
and they'll help the other
barrier
ones
somewhere else. Sorry.
And they'll help the other ones too, right? So there's ones that'll pick things up quick that I can kind of like, I go, free labor. Like now I know they'll pick up what I'm doing and they can show the 2 people next to them what's up. Yeah. And there are also there's going to be every year, I don't know if it happened, this might be the first year where I didn't actively have to do it, but you'll move kids around in and out of your class from different skill levels, right? So that morning class is pretty much broken up by ability or knowledge or whatever, right? There's kids that are like still not great that are just older that end up in different classes. But it's fascinating to me kind of the habits that we have to correct that are things that I ran into as a younger person, and like all of it is such an interesting thing if you've never broken it down in that way, like where you go, a false transfer, or you say a false transfer, okay, could you please do it? And then it's like they do something, but there's no way it could be used in the context of what you would actually want that move for. They just picked it up on YouTube, or they picked it up from a teacher that doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, which there's plenty of that in magic. And so now we're correcting something when they're 16 that I just did a survey today for Tannens where it's like, is there anything you would change? And I don't have a fix for this, but I wish that there was more of a standardized, like, hey, if you're teaching in the beginner room, here's the thing that we could avoid 6 years in the future if we nip it in the bud now, like habits and whatever.
Yeah, like curriculum or
without having to make a curriculum, because I don't think we need that.
No, and it's.
And I also say we do goals too at the beginning of the week and the end of the week. Of like what I check in on like Thursday. And I go, hey, is there anything that we talked about on that first day that we haven't even touched? Like, some kids, every year one of them will be like, I want to learn hypnotism. And I go, okay, well, you should talk to this person or whatever, and that kind of can get rid of it. But if it's something that'll benefit the whole class, show me a stand-up card trick that I could do with no extra gimmicks or anything. I could like borrow a deck and do 5 minutes in front of a crowd. It's like killer goals that some of these kids come in with. I want to be able to do cups and balls proficiently, or I want to learn a stand-up trick, or I want to write a script for a coin trick. That was a great thing that we did, right? Wow. This year it was like learn a coin trick from Suzanne on day whatever, and then come back a couple days later and like kids had scripts. Kid had like a great thing about, he had a washer and $1. This was fantastic. It's a trick. I did it for you yesterday, that expansion of texture thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
So just coin through handkerchief. Coin joins another coin in a handkerchief. Great trick. But he had a washer and $50, and he was like, he goes, oh, I have this script for this thing. We were walking from breakfast, and I was like, he goes, I have an idea for a script, but I don't know. It's about me and my dad and this thing. And I didn't really know if he had any of it together, but I was like, would you just try and walk through it for 12 of us in class? Like, there's no pressure. If you're like, absolutely no, then that's fine. But I think maybe benefits just from saying it all, and we can even talk about it as a group then. He comes in, did it, knocked that shit out of the park. Like, talking about him and his dad and their relationship and how they're a little bit different because the dad is the washer. He works in the garage more, and he's the $50. And I was like, shit, like, right. Making these connections that adults never make. And then by the end of the week, he had like a thing that he learned, could perform proficiently, and had an original take on.
Yeah.
It's like crazy.
So this is real key, and
bonkers.
This is something that I would maybe even say that I struggle with it in relation to the magic that I do, because you're talking before about this part in my show, like magic wise that week or whatever, but that act is so strong. But I'm constantly kind of confused by spending so long on working on the rackets, and they sort of emerging out of nowhere. Yeah. And they're like, there's stuff that happens along the way, but each thing is so idiosyncratic and so original to me, because I didn't see any of those things. As I bought a big racket that was bigger by mistake, and then I had it in my bag, and then I did the next thing, and that kind of organic process. So when I then go in and take a trick, like my invisible egg, which is not mine, which comes from Christoph T. Magician, the book. Okay. He started the whole structure of that is from him.
Oh wow!
And but I have a different. It's my spiel and the stuff that I say in the end that changes as it and stuff. But that is how so much magic is. It's like you do this and going, okay, well, and then I introduce a real egg in the end, and I have a way of doing that, and where the beat comes, and there's a whole sit-down thing where the kid comes up to me and I talk about what you want to do with your life, kind of, or whatever, and the kid and that whole section is, to me, the clincher of it. But all the comedy and everything comes, like, it's the stuff that's set up, and I've added my own lines and whatever. But like, this thing, I think, makes me, when I'm talking to other magicians, feel like I don't have anything, in a way. Like, because I'm doing this trick, and I've done it hundreds of times, but it isn't my material, and I have a different relationship towards that than I do towards some of the things that I've really eked out from scratch.
From years of evolution.
And what's the, like, I mean, because that's related to teaching. You're teaching someone your routines, and you've hinted on before, you don't write down all of the jokes and all of your material and when you're writing down the routine. Like, you might hold back on certain things or whatever.
Oh, you're saying like for publishing.
When you, for instance, in publishing, or even when you're teaching or whatever, like you sort of, because you're teaching them how to a certain structure of it, but what makes your routine unique to you, you want to hold back on some of those things, because it also is what what makes it unique to them. So you just mentioned it. This kid now comes in, learns a magic trick at the beginning of the week, then has a talk to you, learns how to actually do the trick, and then starts to add his own thing on top of it.
Yeah.
And I guess my question is, like, how much do you have to change something or so for it to be yours, so that you perform it, and then when could you lecture on those things? Or like,
yeah, that's a real gray area.
Yeah,
it's tough, but I'm always fascinated by it. It's like trick of Theseus or whatever.
Yeah.
Much of it. But for me, I always got real irked out by the same thing that you're saying, where like there isn't really anything in my show where I didn't feel like, especially in the stand-up show, where I didn't feel like I put like a real mark on it, or at least, you know, made it. I guess the qualifier for me, like with the people that I write with, is we talk about having is it an Elvis song? Like Elvis never wrote any of his own songs for the most part, or ever. I don't know.
Yeah,
but he knew instantly. Like you hear some gospel song and you go like, I can sing that, or you hear whatever and he goes, that's within my, you know, that's the brand.
Yeah.
And so I think about that a lot. But there's things where I don't know what a good example is, but like I'll tell you one that's in the show and then one that I'm struggling with. The Velcro trick in the show is a thing that was given to me, right? So that is somebody's act that they did for 30 years and then gave to me.
Where you dress up in a ridiculous Velcro suit and someone throws balls at you. That's like that.
And then it's predicted.
And it's predicted, yeah. So that's the trick part of it. But it's a completely ridiculous predicament to get yourself in.
Oh, yeah.
Put that thing in. So just to sort of shape what the Velcro actually is.
And it's
which is amazing, yeah.
I love it, yeah. But so I loved it when I was a kid. I got to know, it's Chris Kenner's trick. And so I got to know Chris, and then over years, blah, 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 Chris retired from doing the stage show and then gave me that. And so it's cool that I get to do it. But when he was giving it to me, he was like, he goes, Homer can rip all the footage of me doing it and you'll have like, you can learn the jokes or whatever. And I asked to not do that in the initial stages. I actually still don't have the footage. It's been years. I should probably get it just for the archives or whatever. But I purposefully didn't want to just take the structure that he had put out, right? And so there's one joke in there that's in his original routine.
Because you remembered it from when you were a kid?
Because I remembered it when I was a kid, and I was like, I can't, like, it's so fucking perfect. But then the rest of it is all kind of, that's all been evolution of like, what do you do with these props put in front of you? How do you, it was cool because it took a while to develop it too, right? Yeah. It was like, I put it in the show to do it, I think my first Disney contract or something, first Disney Cruise Line thing, I started doing the Velcro because I needed more time.
And how long ago was that?
I have no idea. I haven't done one since, it was years before the pandemic, and I haven't done one since. So
it's a decade almost or something.
Yeah, it could be, maybe it's 7 or 8 years or something. Yeah. But it's got to be 8 years. But yeah, now I feel like it has really become its own thing. We just taped it at a thing in LA, and I looked at it and I was like, damn, there's a lot of jokes in there.
Yeah.
Like we really, it feels like I came up with enough of a thing to not be embarrassed by. I think initially some of it too was like, magicians were shitty to me because he gave me that act.
Oh, yeah.
And so I got a lot of flack for like, well, it's, Nick is getting these little successes because he was given somebody's, give somebody your show. You could just, if Captain Frodo gives somebody the rackets routine, they could just also be successful.
But that is in a sense though what people do with their books as well. Like you do. So, but of course, I mean, some people will also just be shitty just in general. So like you can't please everybody all the time. And sometimes you go to a convention and all those people are there at the same time that you can't please.
Some of the most successful people in magic are people doing stolen and copied material that's not even close to what I'm trying to do with something like the Velcro, where it's like, I love that I took this piece from the late 80s, that I remember seeing in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then turn it into something new and modern and have jokes and whatever. Not that it was dated or anything, but
but you're also making it. You're when you're updating it, you're also just updating. When you're taking an old routine or an old trick, is also to make it relevant to you now.
Right.
Like, I mean, there might be a world where you are doing a routine as it is because you think that's like funny or whatever.
Sure.
But most of the time, for it to read authentic and for it to be funny, which then you need to put your own stamp on it.
I think so.
Which is why it's so important. Like when the kid goes, I'm going to say these things, and then you go, actually, more important than whether you have the right script written down.
Yeah.
The fact that you are even going into this territory as somebody who is less than 20 and you're already doing these things is already putting you on the path to being one of the guys that will be on the bill later on. At
Big
some
time.
point, we are in some convention or we're at doing a gig and you're on the program and I'm also on the program.
Oh, yeah. And we're getting, I mean, I feel like I've run into that a lot more now. We're like, and I'm booking campers to like work on stuff, like one of them was working for Mac for a minute and worked for me at that taping in LA, and then now he works at Tannen's and does all this. So it's like they're crushing it. Like but it's because they were ahead of the pack. In getting into it. Like I don't think I would have any sort of like. I don't think I would have the same base knowledge or interest if I didn't get into it when I was like 6. Right? It's just that's a given. It's like you go into that crazy sponge phase and then.
Well, it's like Diverman says, it's like, I am 78 years old. I got into magic when I was 6. So I basically wasted the first 6 years of my life.
Right. And as a father, he was a really great magician, I think. According
he
to
did great tricks for his kids. But, so...
I don't even know where we left off on that.
So I'm just going back to me just using that routine of the invisible egg, which comes from his wonderful book called Beyond Look, Don't See. And that's one of those things that I keep thinking when I'm then going, okay, so I'm going to buy this magic book now. It's $125 or whatever.
Wow.
No, not that, that one, but you and me at the magic store.
Oh, yeah.
Here, and I'm going, I'm buying this magic book. It's really cheap. It's $50.
Yep.
Or this magic book, I bought Steinmeier's illusion book as like $150 or whatever. But the one time when I buy that book and that becomes, and there's one trick in there now that gives me 6.5 minutes of solid stage stuff with my jokes and with and the structure, then it's worth spending any kind of money on those things. And books have so much in them. So you buy one and you read it all, but the fact that it is in the book too, you're talking about getting this act and you don't want to see the video and get the jokes. But the fact that you read the book, I've never actually seen this guy do a show. So I don't know anything about this person, and I've had that previously where I have gone, oh, this is cool from this book, and someone else going like, oh, I don't know about that guy.
Yeah,
and I'm going, well, I don't know about that guy either.
But his idea,
this book is good.
Stemmed,
This is making sense to me. So maybe they aren't an awesome performer, but they are an awesome writer. We've talked about that before. But anyway, the translation process of me reading the trick and then getting up and trying to do it. And I had this, I knew about that trick and I thought about it, and we've talked about it before. I had that raising tie for another routine, a necktie that can go up and down when you want it. So I was using that for something else. Then I read that book, left it behind, and remembered the routine about the invisible egg. And it was someone's birthday, and Maria, Queen of the Circus, goes, can you do some magic for the kids?
Yeah.
And I was like, I should do that thing. And then I did a version of that thing and then couldn't remember all the stuff because I didn't have the book with me. So it sort of evolved, and then I went back and read it again and went, oh, that's good stuff. But it's all this sort of translational process. And now it is uncertain in my mind what was in the book and what what is new for me. But there's a part of me that feels like, oh, it's probably nothing, basically. It's just what's in the book. But I know that it's more than all of that.
Yeah. Well, I think
so that's just where I'm going, like, where, like, because I can't quite shake it then, that you're sort of having this, but maybe that just has to do with a certain kind of confidence or with an understanding of that material, because I know that is also the norm, and it is partly what I like so much about magic too. It's that you end up with this routine, and then you go, well, I don't like this bit. And then you can have a talk with someone, or you can go through your books and you can find what are other ways for a handkerchief to disappear. Or, okay, well, if you can't do the 12 vanish of the ball and the thing, but I'm teaching my daughter, what is something that can do? And then you can substitute. And then that thing is already starting to put your own spin on that act. And I mean, I guess I don't have a specific question, but it's just that struggle of wanting to know, like, when are you okay to share it with another magician that won't just go, oh, okay, well, that's
well, then there's like guys
derivative.
Yeah. Which that's always been, I mean, it was drilled into me as a kid, I think. So I think I have this weird, like, I have a ton of weird shit for a magician, right? I don't do any card tricks in the show. I've always been like, very, whatever. I've always been really cautious about the material that actually makes it into the act, like I would hope anybody is. But I always got really, somebody would teach me a trick, and then it's like, I got to make it different. I got to go. It's got to be, change the prop or change the whatever. It got to be original. Then there's an Al Baker quote about, like, I'm gonna mess it all up. I wish I was better rested and I remember this quote because it's phenomenal. But like, he talks about being different isn't always. It's never almost. It's not. That's not being better. You're not improving a thing by turning it into a cup instead of a bowl or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when you look at, there's guys like Jared Kopp, where if you just said Jared Kopp is doing cups and balls and linking rings and some card stuff and talk about it in that way, you'd be so fucking wrong that it's offensive.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you've seen it.
Because you think when you go, okay, he's doing the linking rings and the cups and balls, then you think you have the measure of them because, like, you go, the kids say, I thought I knew the balls. Right. And then I saw her do it. Sure. The cups and balls, I mean. And then that's the same with Jared when I saw him when he was doing it, which from what I understood was not necessarily his finest thing, but I was blown away.
That's what he said. That was his own words. Just to clarify, I believe there was an off night joking about it. Yeah, he goes, "There's one ball under the cup. Now there's two. Anyways, here's some oranges." It was like, and I've seen him do that routine 40 times. It's like one of my favorite. But yes, but he was nailing it before he had even gotten any balls under those cups. So that's of course the thing where you go, where I sometimes have said that about, like, go, oh, so what do you do or whatever? Like, oh, well, it's a band. What's the band? Yeah, but one plays the guitar and one plays the bass and one plays the drums and you're like, but that's every band. Yet it's, but anyway, it's constraint though, right? It's putting constraints on what you're doing and making active decisions. And so I'm like, so, okay, this is a good example. So I'm struggling with, I'm teaching, I'm putting out a booklet on a technique, right? Yeah. So it's a center tear. I don't know how openly you talk on here about magic stuff, but like, I can talk as openly as anyone because there's only industry people that listen. Amazing. Anyway. No one that goes to a psychic that thinks they're gonna. That's like, that's why that bitch. I won't crush anyone's dreams. But based on what's available on YouTube on magic, you go, like, we're having a verbal description of a method that exists. But anyway, this is very exciting. You're publishing a new booklet for Tannens. Yeah, so it's super cool. I'm excited about it. It's a technique that I came up with for me that I didn't know if anybody else would ever benefit from. Showed it to some people. They dig it. Now a lot of people like it, and we're doing it as a book to teach it. But Teller likes it. What's that?
Holy goddamn! Teller
Holy
likes it.
goddamn! Teller likes it.
It's going to be on the. We're going to be printed on the top part of the book, I guess.
If I want to pay rent, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but like, you know, so people don't look to me as like the center tear guy.
Yeah, because
right?
you don't do really
not a mentalist
now anyway. Don't really do mentalism in your. I mean, I guess your sports balls is
let's not
mentalism.
Clown gag to
but hey,
to mentalism level,
but yeah, you're not known as the Max Maven of comedy magic.
No. I almost said something much worse there, but the who I am of comedy magic. I've made many jokes about that. But so it's a weird thing, right? Where I'm going, I'm not selling you the song. I'm not selling you the Elvis song. I'm selling you a tool. I'm selling. Let's take that word out. I'm teaching you a thing.
Yeah.
And the hope is that you have the attitude and the thinking behind what, you know why you want this technique if you're going to use it. So center tear, it's a means of obtaining information to then reveal back to somebody in a secret means, right? Secret way, whatever. So they write something down, it gets shredded and burned, and then you read their mind or whatever. But so there's been a million approaches to this thing. I just had to have this discussion again today with somebody who's a mentalist who was like, I don't know what people will think, because it is out of my norm. And I use a center tear in a trick in the show, but a lot of people wouldn't even call it a mental. If you read the reviews from the show I was doing in Pittsburgh, it's like, then he smelled a woman's bottle of antidepressants and told us when they expired. These aren't things. So I've got the song that I do with this tool. But so I'm teaching you how to use a saxophone, not even play it. I think.
That's right. In this pamphlet, that's what you're doing. But then with that picture in mind of music, I would say that then your book, Offbeat, there you have songs.
Yeah, there I'm giving you my attitude, I think.
Yeah, but you're giving but just sticking with that thing now, you're giving them a way to play whatever instrument you're doing. If you do it in this way, and that the center tear could be that for you. But that your other book, Offbeat, and most magic books, or a lot of magic books have at least that element, that they have full routines. They will say 12 full routines and a bunch of slides and 2 essays or whatever, which is like basically your book as well. It's a bit like that. You sort of go, here's routines, which is often then arguably the meat and potatoes of the book. It's in a magic lecture or in a song, you want some sort of thing that you go, okay, this is the real deal here. Now you have a whole 5-minute thing you can do or whatever. And then, so those are, if you can think of those as songs, and if you then think of how many musicians there are who are not the writers of music, just thinking Elvis, just using that same thing. And in that way, also now I'm talking to myself here, because not all of these things have I developed myself. Like my change bag thing, for as much as I have developed everything in that routine, and I am getting 13 minutes out of a change bag and one piece of rope, apparently. Like, it's still not something that I'm like, oh, this is something that I got to share with the world. Yet all of those beats of how I got a sewing thread between two of them to illustrate that one piece is missing. It doesn't make any sense, but the kids and the families and in the show, it works so great. And that's then my own take of it. But then somehow I feel like that's a more original routine because it wasn't inspired by anyone. Yet when I then take that song out of someone else's book and play it in my own way, so that there is no one, like, you can't tell that that's somebody else's routine when I do it. It looks like it's like this is just something that it makes complete sense to me. But how many books have I read of magic, and how few routines as have I actually lifted, and how many songs did Elvis hear, and
and maybe the Elvis thing is a bad example. For the first time, I will say, This is the thing that's in my
myself with
notebooks.
Elvis. We don't equate ourselves with Elvis.
Well, speak for your fucking self.
Yeah. I mean, we both like to wrestle.
Yeah. And I do have a velvet Elvis on the 4-foot velvet Elvis.
You do have a big picture of Elvis on your wall. So
and that's a strand of his hair. Or no, that is a strand of his hair. I have a piece of a last worn concert scarf in my road case. But other than that, I don't equate myself.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
I also shoot stuff. But no. So the analogy that I use that I've had to put in my notebook, I've never vocalized this, but it's interesting. Is I need to be more willing to take other works and turn them into something like that. The sanitizer routine, right?
Yeah.
I kind of had to start with like a pre-existing trick. I'm not going to design a methodology for knowing 3 numbers. And it felt dirty, like buying a product or a booklet and learning a thing and like, how much am I changing this? Obviously changing it a lot. It's its own beast. But so my thought was, and a lot of really shitty books have been turned into great movies. And that's the thing that I keep thinking about. Like, there are people that buy, there's so many famous screenplays that are like kind of subpar books.
Yeah.
And not even that they need to be bad, but like, but the idea that that's a possibility is interesting to me, right? I buy these booklets from the 40s, these like Magic Ink booklets, and you read a trick in there and it takes a page to explain not only what the effect is, but the materials preparation and all the sequencing. It's like, it's all explained in 200 words, 300 words. Yeah. And it's like, kind of reads crappy, but then I know I could take that thing and like, duct tape it to the back of a disposable camera. Now it's a pretty good trick or whatever, and do it in my own way. Yeah. Like there's tons of things like that, little simplistic things that you would never think would be a stage piece, but I think that there's, and not even in the like steal like an artist sense, right, or any of that kind of more trendy stuff. I think that there's just a lineage in the arts of, okay, so there's a routine that I love, and the guy was dead before I was born, but I'm friends with somebody who was friends with him when he was in his 90s. And it's this juggling thing. And I was like, somebody should do that. And he's like, yeah, you should do that. You should, because you would never do it the same way he did it. It wouldn't even be recognizable. And he's like, no one's doing it. He taught some other stuff of his, but he never like, didn't pass the mantle of it on to you, but also like, it's a juggling thing that you would do so differently that if the guy was still alive, he would probably be thrilled that you even gave a shit enough about this thing to want to do some form of it or keep some form of it alive. Yeah. And so I struggle with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
It's tough.
And
also I'm like, if I was dead, what would I think?
Yeah.
Like, probably.
I mean, and even when I'm alive, as now I'm going.
Man.
I was talking about this, like, even if somebody was doing my rackets and I taught it to do for someone, we would not really be in competition, because a lot of those gigs that would call me to get me to do it. Yeah. And I know that because I did that for a very short period. Yeah. With Brett Pfister.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't realize that.
So he has done my act.
That's crazy.
I can't remember, maybe only 10 times or something. Funny. But for audiences, but we practiced it and did it, and he did. And the idea was that he was gonna, but then, so this is so long ago that then he was asked to come to Vegas. So it's before he came here.
Funny.
So, because I was getting a lot of corporate gigs in the UK, and I had to fly from Australia to do them, and it just was killing me. And we'd spoken about it, and then, so that was kind of the first actual comedy act that he did. Wow. And then he went on to develop his whole sort of, his whole thing, which was great. But
that's wild.
But I know from that time that it is not an easy sell to say, hey, I have somebody else to do my act.
I'm sure.
Some people I know that do that.
Yeah. I have a friend that's struggling with it, I think, or I think it's been tougher than expected.
To sell the
to be clone? To be like, it's okay. It's the show.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing the show and it's the same fun that we would have if I was there. But it's like, people know.
Yeah. But it's also like, so that was just to go, so we both agree.
Yeah.
It is not an easy thing to say, hey, there's another guy doing mine now, so you can get him, because they don't particularly want that.
No.
So my bottom line is there, even if I taught it with my blessing and I tried to sell it in, we would not be in any kind of competition with about the same gigs. Because those people who know about me, who have any reason to connect me to it, then they would, it would be difficult. So in that sense, me and that person who did it wouldn't be particularly in competition for gigs, because they would be getting a different kind of gig at whatever state they're in or whatever.
It is a different level though, where that level to me is something that, like, before I was in a position that's similar, where we're like, when people call us, they're asking for us, right? Not to loop myself into that, but like, you know, I don't think I get booked for a lot of stuff where they just want a magician.
No,
because they can pick a guy that hits like
if
much
they want
harder
a guy to squeeze through a racket and they say, hey, we only have $100, then I'm going, well, that's great. And they go, well, we have people who can do it for that. And then we go, great. Well, then you should get them, because I'm not the guy that's standing in the corner and doing that. I need it to be different. So then you're not after me. And I rarely get those calls though.
Not anymore. But for a minute, I'm sure you dealt with plenty of that shit. So I guess what I'm getting at is like, that is the idea of it not being competition is totally a thing at a certain level. But I think prior to that level, like if I go, okay, I'm going to teach somebody, I'm going to be cool with somebody else doing whatever, just like The Ring as an example. I'm cool with him doing it, but if it's that we both work in Minnesota, working in a different market than what I work in now, then it's an issue.
Yeah,
I think. But if it's like, then it's not Blue Man Group. Like, I think Daredevil Chicken has gotten it so fucking right? Like, they've had how many couples do the bananas and like really crush? Like a bunch.
Oh, I don't know.
A handful of different shows. Like, they, you know, I feel like they've been able to have the kind of Blue Man thing work where they don't.
I didn't know that they had the people spitting bananas.
Oh yeah, I've been different Spiegel shows.
Oh,
and so to me,
they have had in the past also, and yeah.
And so that was in my head always the example, because I saw it. I remember seeing them, and then one night I was like, oh, that's not them. You know, I was apparently younger and dumber, but I was like, wow, that, you know, that's a thing.
That's right. There are people who license their acts here and all that. But I guess what I was aiming at there was also.
Yeah, I'm probably talking around the whole thing.
No, because we're talking about the same thing. But I was also thinking that it's in forms of, if I wrote my act down, and people would read it and read all of the details, all of the thinking that goes in with it, and this is good because of that, and this is what this part of the act does, and then you hope that someone not just going to go do the whole thing as it is, but even if they do, I don't know how much of a competition we're actually in and how bad it would be for the general thing. If you're like on TV or you're doing that sort of stuff and they're famous or whatever, then that's one thing. Sure. But we see it with magicians, where the fact that Jared Koff can do the cups and balls and the rings, and Marlon Nilsson as well does the cups and the rings. Yep. And Marlon is totally awesome. And so is Jared.
Different shows.
And you know, if you're putting them on a bill, you don't particularly want to put them in the same show with those tricks. But then you go, okay, he would do that and she would do this, because you don't want necessarily repetition within the one show.
Right.
But that is unbelievably rare that it would happen. Yeah. So you sketch that out. But
and that's every discipline, I feel like. If you got, I mean, I guess there's
Well, jugglers as well.
less
Like,
situations
how do you-
where you're booking 2 jugglers on a show.
Yeah, or 2 magicians or so, unless it's a magic show, and then like it's or a juggling show. But even then, you go, well, you want one guy to do the Diablo. You don't want 5 Diabloists,
Right.
Like that's like or whatever. So you want variety in the show. But I guess my point is also like for all the people who make a good living as a hobbyist or as a professional, and they're doing the coloring book and they're doing the professor's nightmare. Like it isn't. It still baffles me the fact that we go, oh, here's this one, this old thing.
Right.
And then you go out for the general public and you are the first magician they have ever seen live. And it happens every show to how big of a percentage?
Right.
Like, I mean...
The majority?
The majority of it. It's like 70, 80% of the people who are there, if even more, are seeing a magician for the first time when you're in Minnesota at a family event for whatever.
You run into people that have never been to a live show. Yeah. I'm always shocked by that. You go on the road and you talk to somebody at a comedy club or whatever, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is great!" Like I've never
been to a show before.
Isn't that weird? Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Yes, we cut that conversation short but fear not. Nick Diffatte will be back next episode coming up, and we continue on talking about these things, and he's got so many great insights, just an all-round good guy, and I'm so happy to count him amongst my friends and have him here on the podcast repeatedly. So until next time, take care of yourself and all of those you love, and I hope to see you along the way.